Let's talk about the massive incarceration of migrants under Trump. Under the U.S. law, there is something that authorizes the migrant to get in the United States through proper points of entry. These are the points of entry that have been decided by the immigration law enforcement and largely by the administration in place. So how did Trump raise significantly the number of migrants that have been put in prisons, mainly at the Mexican border? So there is the simple fact first that under Obama and even under Bush, there was the catch and release policy that was very often used as to allow the migrants not to overwhelm the prison during the wait for them to see whether they're going to be allowed to stay in America, to have their green card or not. So the catch and release policy is this: as soon as you enter the country and have received a date to see a judge in the immigration court, you are released within the United States, on the territory of the United States. And this does not create problems because, you see, migrants statistically commit way less crimes than what nationals do. Obviously, without this policy, as soon as you had a date to see a judge, as soon as you were received and you had gone through the process, even through the proper point of entry, the legal one, you were put in jail, even while you were waiting for your day in the court. One other thing that allowed more imprisonment of migrants is the fact that the time of the waiting for migrants to be received in a court of justice to know whether or not they were going to receive their green card has been largely elongated and largely expanded because there has been a crackdown on the processes that were accelerating all that under the Trump administration. There has been a crackdown through back channels, and that has not made a lot of noise. But there has been a crackdown indeed, and days before you could see a judge, depending on the case, could become 60 days, could become 3 months, and longer. What's interesting also is that they choose to separate the family through an executive order, obviously, that were allowing them to separate the children from their parents, and even the parents from each other's if they were together. This is an awful and unjust and unjustified policy. Let's add to that the condition in which the migrants have been imprisoned was degrading very rapidly. 6 migrant deaths have been found in those prisons. One of them killed by a common cold. A common cold, because the state of the prison was such that even a common cold could kill someone. You must understand that the Trump administration, through legal means, has argued that the law was too vague as to what a proper treatment was, and has argued that it did not necessarily include basic necessities such as medical help, blankets, toothbrushes, etc., etc. So that's what allowed many migrants in those prisons to die, and that's what makes many migrants in those prisons live in terrible conditions. They are even packed into a small room when there are they can be 40 in a 30-meter room. 30-meter, I'm not sure of the word in English, sorry. You got me. So one other thing that the Trump administration, after the American population showed how unpopular, particularly the separation of family was, the Trump administration have backed down from the separation of families, but through more informal channels and through bureaucratic means, decided to uh, make harder for migrants to receive a green card. It created a bureaucratic hell for migrants to go through for them to receive their green card or any proper acknowledgement that they could stay in America. This is called the paper wall because this is a wall of paper, literally. And there is, for example, one specific policy that is that one migrant could not receive its green card if it was not able to take care of himself. So, of course, this is already hard for migrants because obviously they just arrived, they don't have a job yet, and they need the green card to be able to have a legal job. But even more pernicious than that is that included in that specific policy was the fact that any migrants that would have, if received the green card, received some social benefits were by that specific point not considered as being able to take care of himself. So what is funny in all this story is that through all these policies that was allegedly to restrict the illegal immigration, what only has been done is to increase the illegal immigration. One specific thing that helped increasing the illegal immigration was the fact that Trump himself closed the point of entry of the United States at some point, which led many migrants who could not enter anymore in the country through the legal means to enter illegally and to take many risks for entering the country, which led many migrants to die. This is ironic. This did not, despite the rhetoric, this did not achieve. This did exactly the opposite of what it was supposed to do. The rhetoric, let's remember, was based on the idea that too many illegal migrants were going in through the Mexican borders. Let's, on that, remember, hopefully remember, otherwise make you know that more migrants are going out of America through the Mexican border than are coming in. Again, more migrants coming out of America than coming in. You know why? Because the situation in America is shit, and many migrants, even though they might flee something very bad, are deciding that the United States is still too much of a shithole to stay in.